One of the classic questions in how to read the Megillah is how to analyze the character of Achashverosh. Is Achashverosh, as perhaps is the simpler read of the Megillah, essentially a bumbling hedonist looking for new sources of pleasure and following the advice of whoever seems to be close at hand? Or possibly is there a political shrewdness underneath the sensualist exterior that Achashverosh presents in the Megillah? The Gemara actually has this as a debate between Rav and Shmuel, whether Achashverosh was a melech pikeach, a wise, shrewd king, or a melech tipesh, a foolish king. And both opinions have merit. It's fascinating to study the commentary of the Malbim on the Megillah, who really gives an analysis of our story of Achashverosh's commands to Vashti as essentially a very powerful political move on Achashverosh's part. The Malbim suggests that Achashverosh was not someone who was born to royalty. In fact, that is why he suggests the Megillah opens, it was during the days of Achashverosh who reigned from India to Ethiopia. In other words, focusing not on the idea that Achashverosh was the king Achashverosh, but presenting him first just as Achashverosh who rose to power reigning over this large empire. Basing himself on the Gemara, he says that Vashti was the granddaughter of Nebuchadnezzar, and he posits that what Achashverosh, a commoner who comes vaulted to a position of power, on one level to cement his authority, marries into essentially the bluest blood in the Middle East in order to help cement his authority. At the same time, the Malbim suggests that Achashverosh was very concerned that it be clear that he is the power on the throne and that Vashti is subordinate to him. The Malbim therefore suggests that when Achashverosh summons Vashti to appear before him clothed only in the royal crown, that essentially what he's doing, particularly in having her manipulated this way through his own personal household staff, is to give a very clear message to all of the assembled that Achashverosh is the one who is king, and that it is not a function of Vashti's royal blood that gives him his authority as king, but that merely that Vashti is a trophy wife. He wants to show off her beauty, to say, this is why I married her, having nothing to do with her royal ancestry. And basing himself actually on the commentary of the Vilna Gaon points out a very subtle distinction in the Psukim. When Achashverosh summons Vashti, he refers to her as Vashti Hamalka, Vashti the queen. The refusal, though, of Vashti to come is phrased not as Vashti the queen, but Hamalka Vashti, Queen Vashti. And the Gra explains that essentially you see here the difference in perspective. Achashverosh sees and wants to project the image of Vashti's royalty as being something secondary to her, which is a result of her beauty and of her marriage to him, whereas Vashti views herself as Hamalka Vashti. I'm Queen Vashti, and it is certainly beneath me to come at the beck and call of this commoner. According to this approach to the Malbim, what we see here is not merely essentially a drunken frat party, but very, very subtle political machinations, which put the rest of the chapter into sharp relief as Achashverosh tries to save face from what could be a tremendous political disaster for him.